Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Comic Shop Talk on the Late Night Chat Network. I'm your host, Nico, and joining with me today, as always, my co-host, Chris. How you doing?
Hey, not too bad. How are you?
I'm good. I see you got the Late Night Chat shirt on there, always representing. Very nice.
I'll
uh,
check it out once in a while.
that's right. Yeah, we might have to bust out a new line of clothing in the new year. We'll see what happens. I don't know if you heard, but Late Night Chat is ending with episode 300 in the new year there, Chris. So make sure guys go
I
check
thought I
that
saw the
out.
last. I thought you had a post there that one of them was your last episodes.
Yeah, me and JT, we did our last episode
Oh,
together because, as you know, there's a bunch of different hosts. So
yeah.
that's our last one for the year, and then we'll be back together with everybody. Hopefully, maybe you'll make an appearance. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I might have to convince you to come over there. But episode 300 in the new year will be kind of like with all the hosts, all the people kind of involved with late night chat. Hopefully, people will call in or show up. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it'll be our last show of that show proper. But we're not going anywhere, and neither are a lot of the shows that we have here on the YouTube channel. But I just kind of wanted to put that out there for anybody that does watch that show as well. Start teasing that now. So episode 300 in the new year for Late Night Chat will be the last show of Late Night Chat proper in that kind of format, the weekly kind of format that we do. So, but yeah, but this isn't a retirement. This isn't me stepping away for like the fifth time and then coming back. None of that. This is what it's fake news, Chris. You don't want to put that out there. Listen, it's just that show. The way we do that show weekly with everybody is ending, but that doesn't mean that we're not going to have check-in shows with folks that are going to be doing like just getting on there shooting the shit. There's going to be more topic-specific shows like we're doing now because this is your first stop for pop culture talk, Chris. That's right. We're pivoting. This is kind of what the channel is turning into. So if you want to hear us talk about a bunch of different stuff, stay tuned because there's going to be all kinds of different shows coming out in the new year and moving forward. And currently, check out our playlist here on the Late Night Chat Network. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, everybody. Make sure you watch this show because this is your weekly comic book review show where you come and hear me, Chris, talk about what we liked and didn't like about every new week's releases of stuff that we've read. This week, we're talking about the new comics that came out for the week of November 6th, 2024. And spoiler warning, as always, we're going to show off some of the art and talk about what happened in the book. So if that's something you're worried about, just come back and check us out later. We have a playlist of 153 episodes and counting here. So check us out. All right, Chris. That all
All
being said,
right. Cheers. Let's
cheers.
talk comics.
Awesome comics. All right. First up on the docket here today, we got Absolute Superman #1. Wes Craig cover. Yeah. Yeah, I got the Wes Craig variant, and of course that one's on the inside. But this is the last of the Trinity new big releases of the Absolute line here. Jason Aaron and who is it on art again? I forgot his name. My apologies. It is
Sandoval.
yeah,
Rafa.
Rafa Sandoval. That's right. Yeah. What'd you think of this, Chris?
Well, it's I don't know, just all these absolute. There's a lot of hype about these things, but these worlds that they've dropped us into, they haven't really blown my mind yet, or kind of knock my socks off. It's a decent story. I don't want to take anything away from that. There's a bit of difference there with Superman's lore here. I guess I think he shows up to Earth as a kid or something, or he's not a baby. And who knows where he landed? It doesn't look like he's based out of the U.S. anymore. And I don't know. I'm not too keen on this trope right now that they have him as a sort of that wandering, mysterious guy that's whatever helping out the peoples in the mines, things like that. So I thought the story it could have been better for a #1. They really needed to up it for all of them. I thought, maybe the Batman one was pretty good. That might have been the best one that I enjoyed the most so far. And we'll see how this one goes. I'll stay on this one for a while too. Still, art's great though. I like the art. That was good.
The art was really strong. Yeah. No, I agree with you. If I had to compare them for the sake of argument here, this is my least favorite of the three. And that's not to say that it's bad. And I actually might be in the minority of how much I really like the Wonder Woman book because I feel like other people I've talked to, of course, rightly so. Everyone's raving about the Batman. I feel like the Wonder Woman, people were just like, so with. I felt like, you know what I mean? Like there were some people that were just like, yeah, it's okay. And then others that were like, yeah, I enjoyed it, but I like the Batman one better. And for me, I thought like the Wonder Woman was almost as good as the Batman one. Quite frankly, I really enjoyed the Wonder Woman one, as you can recall our conversations here. This one was just okay to me. I don't know if it's only because like this seems the most closely related still to the character that we know of Superman. I mean, there was some differences. I did really like the past sequences of like seeing his parents
Yeah, the
being kind of,
Krypton stuff and the
yeah,
comic wars they had there, sort of that Krypton history. But
that stuff was really good, but I felt like we didn't get enough of Superman in this issue. Like I'm
yeah,
halfway through this issue, an oversized issue. I felt like I had to count the pages. We're almost 20 pages in to there's a mention and you see and like appearance of Superman in this issue. So like you're
yeah,
getting all this kind of pretext stuff of his parents and all that stuff, and obviously that stuff's important. It makes Superman Superman, but like until we actually get a moment where he actually shows up in the comic, I just felt like we're burning a lot of kind of time in this first introductory issue of I mean, I guess we all know who Superman is, but like, I kind of wish that we had a bit more of that and less of this other stuff. Although the other stuff is what I actually really enjoyed in this issue. So I don't know. I'm really conflicted in my thoughts on this one because
if you're gonna wait so long to bring out Superman, at least have him some like grand entrance, not like what he's freaking running around in the mines, turning some coal to diamonds to help out these miners there or something.
yeah.
I don't.
And then what's the big change here is like his parents were like the lower class kind of people in the Kryptonian. I kind of liked that little take on
Yeah, I guess they were
Superman.
scientists, but they were like heretics or something, and they were kind of banned and forced to become farmers or whatever. Big deal.
But like in this scene here, you see there's like a peacemaker group. He's in Brazil. Like I don't know what's going on. Like it's kind of it seems like a weird place to kind of like like place Superman and like introduce him in this first issue. I don't know. I mean, I feel like if you want to look at somebody who did it better in that regard, you can just read Red Sun, right? Like,
Yeah,
so I don't know. I listen. I really like Jason Aaron. You said the art was really good. I'm not out on this yet. I think it was decent, but it interested me the least, I would say, out of the three first issues of this absolute series so far. I think you're right. I think Batman's still the best. Wonder Woman is very close for me in terms of how much I enjoyed it to Batman, but then this one is probably my least favorite. I don't know about you. You weren't really keen on the Wonder Woman one, I felt like, either.
yeah, I wasn't too keen on that one either. So these are both like I say, they're still good comics, but for all the hype these were getting, I was expecting some more hoopla, in the series, or at least something to do with Darkseid. Unless that was just like an afterthought, like all this stuff was already made. And like, oh, let's try and get Darkseid into this story somehow. Because you don't really see anything about that, his influence in this world yet.
No, but I mean, like, I get that that's something that we would probably build to. They still got to kind of establish the origins of these versions of the characters in the first issue. I'm not That's why, like, I feel like this is something that needs to be done, and you have to kind of get out of the way in order to move forward onto more interesting things. And I hope that's where we go with this title, because this first issue out the gate, I was just like, okay, this is fairly the same. I felt like in terms of an origin for Superman, there's some differences, but if we had to compare, it's probably the least differences, I would say. Again, out of all three of these relaunches, like this still feels. I mean, it should still feel like Superman, but like I feel like Batman, there was a lot of changes made in that Batman. The Wonder Woman, again, very different in terms of like at least where she was born and what type of like person that she was and what she kind of stood for. It seemed like in that first issue, this kind of still generally feels like Superman. Like there's not much different, I felt like, about
Yeah,
this. I guess the only things you could really look to change is who he's raised by and where he ended up, because that's kind of like, that's big parts of Superman, what makes him Superman and why he kind of, fights for the humans and stuff like that. Right. But I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's hard to tell with this first issue. I'll say that much. And seemed like his mother wears the pants in the family out of both the parents. I got that impression from this issue as well. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll see where this goes. What did you give
yeah.
this?
Well, the more we talk, I was going to give it a 3.75, but I'm going to downgrade that to a 3.5.
Yeah, That's what I was gonna rate it. Yeah, 3.5 out of 5. Which again, it wasn't bad, but yeah, it's the least interesting. I feel like out of the titles, out of the absolute line so far. All right, next up we got JSA number 1. Got my cover here. I got the Jeff Lemire variant with the team here, and this is the other main cover here.
Yeah,
And
I just read this one online because I know you're a big fan of this JSA stuff, so I thought I'd try and jump in, see what's going on in there. And I guess I'm missing some part of the story. It looks like some people. I was at at the end of the last series or something, where all these, I guess some of those guys have been gone missing or disappeared. So I don't
yeah,
know. I guess it was kind of dropped into it. Like, I figure it's the number one. You're kind of starting refreshing it or no, but not so much. More of a continuation. But hey, I didn't mind the story. I like Jeff Lemire's writing. I thought the writing was decent in there. The story's engaging, and it looks like there's something big happening at the end. So
yeah,
a lot of stuff between the characters. All the team members aren't getting along. So I guess it's like the bit of the drama. Of the relationships in the team. So I can't go wrong with that.
yeah. You're definitely right that it wasn't a 100% a clean break from the Jeff Johns JSA series that just ended moving into this series. There was reference into like a changing of the guard in terms of all these younger versions or children of the missing JSA team that was talked about in that last series. So, but once you kind of wrap your head around that, which they kind of explain in this issue, I feel like once you kind of get into the storyline in this one, like you said, by the end of it, especially with the way this issue ended, I was like, okay, yeah, this is some good superhero comics here. I'm actually really
Yeah,
interested to see where this story goes. I thought the artist was decent. I'm not familiar with the artist. It's my first time maybe seeing their work. What is this? Diego Orlatugi. I'm not familiar with him, but yeah, it looked good. And there's a large cast of characters in here. And don't be afraid. Like even myself, like I don't know all of these characters very well, but this is a nice opportunity to get to learn about some legacy, lesser known DC characters as well. That's the way I look at it. Because there's a lot of interesting characters here, and a lot of them are just different iterations of your
yeah,
favorite DC characters, right? That's the whole thing with DC that makes them different from Marvel. Is that they have all these different eras of flashes of like Green Lantern. So it's kind of cool when you see that. The reason I like the JSA comics that I've read is that you get to see that happen. You get to see the old school team team
yeah,
up with some new people and stuff like that. And like their approach and the way they go about things can vary and differ from one another. So that's kind of what makes JSA to me a fun superhero team book outside, like in contrast to Justice League always. So
yeah. That's what I was thinking. This is a lot like Justice League, but it's just more local. And like I guess Justice League now has to be the one of the pillars of the DC universe now. So they can't really do stories, I guess, like this
yeah,
with the Justice League. So I think it's a good replacement. Whatever this Justice Society.
yeah, yeah. So I hope it's fun. I mean, yeah, this was really cool. You seen Alan Scott, Green Lantern, Doctor Fate. You seen what's his name there? The old Flash. Yeah, it's really cool. Like these guys are kind of off the playing field right now, and that's their trap. That's why this like the other younger team is kind of stepping in at the moment. But Hawkman, like yeah, that's awesome. Like there's a lot of really good characters that just don't really see a lot of play. And I guess if you want to see them kind of where they're at and see what's going on, this is the title now. And yeah, like you said, I like Lemire a lot. And the Injustice Society showing up at the end of this issue, that kind of made things very interesting. Honestly, this is a group of bad guys, basically the Justice League bad guy equivalent team. So that's pretty cool. I really like that. So I'm interested to see where this goes. What'd you give this?
Yeah, I give it 3.75.
Same. Yep. 3.75 out of 5 this week. All right. Next up, we got Aliens versus Avengers #2. First issue. I think this has been coming out bi-monthly. I think it came out not bi-monthly. Yeah, every 2 months. Or yeah, I guess bi-weekly is twice a month. Bi-monthly is still that. So yeah. So it took a couple months for the second one to come out, but we love the first issue. What do you think of the second issue here, Chris?
Yeah, if they want to do this bi-monthly, I don't mind. There's no urgency to these issues, but when the issues do come out, I thought they were great here. And I just love the way they have all these guys drawn. like whatever Iron Man, like these guys are all like old people now. I think they're all just husks of themselves. I thought there's a bit too much of I guess the alien lore. I'm
Yeah.
not too familiar with that, but hopefully that works out. But just the story that's going on, where I guess that city that they've taken refuge in, I guess Tony Stark looks like he got some information in kind of some of those whatever the back travel, and he realized that the aliens were coming, and he had 16 years to kind of prepare for it, and he sort of did. He set up that city to be almost like a Noah's Ark, and you think that's the plan, everything's going to work out, and lo and behold, when they try and blast off, whatever, Captain America's there with some more refugees to try and get him back onto the ship, and they got to hold off, but the danger of holding off and keeping a gate open is crazy. And just some lines from what's that, Bruce Banner, when he jumps out there, and like Tony Stark's like, no, you got to stay. We need you. We need you. Goes off. If I stayed, then I'd be the monster. And he jumps out, and just seeing him smash some aliens, and and
Poor
then
Cap. Cap came
and
late.
Cap, yeah, with that shield, he's bouncing them off there. And from what I understand, both Hulk and Cap are left behind, right?
Yes. Yes. Like they are as good as dead as far as they're concerned, because they were trying to make sure that
Until you see them die, they're not dead. They're going to be living, doing something. But
I hope. I hope. Because I get
yeah.
it. I get it from the sense that you don't want to bring any aliens with you, risk that having contamination of it on your new home that you're going to. Like that is a crucial part. Meanwhile, he's got one attached to him, Miles Morales, but they don't think that's gonna come back.
I know. I think Miles should freaking jump ship if he knows. He's like, guy, get out of here, pal. I don't know what that thing is you got, but you can't come on this ship. This ride isn't for you.
It's one of those tragic ass moments in one of these action films, though, where the guy has to make a tough decision, where he's like, do you leave them behind in order for the sake of the human race, or do you, and that's why at least Hulk stayed behind and tried to save him, because he's like, I couldn't live with myself if I went with this. But Tony made that hard decision. He turned to Captain Marvel. He said, yeah, I guess we got to go. Like close the doors. We got to take off. And a couple of things I really enjoyed this issue, other than that ending. Like you said, that ending was great. One was when he meets with the company man there, and I forgot the name of like all these guys, the makers and all that, like the Prometheus people from the Alien movies. If you've watched those, they kind of go into that a little bit more in those movies. If you haven't watched them, though, I don't feel like it's, it'll give you more context to stuff. But and then I guess this guy's like the company man that they all all that alien stuff is derived from that I forgot the name of it, but he works for the company. And that meeting that Tony Stark has with them, when he's sitting there and he's like this old as fuck, and he's just like, you ever heard of the phrase playing possum? And he's like, so do you even have possums on your world? And he's like, no, I don't know what that is. He's like, I'm just pretending that you got the upper hand, you idiot. And then he freaks out, and he's just like, that's twice I didn't see what you had planned coming. He's like, excellent. Like he's getting off to it. He's just like, this is great. Because I guess no one outsmarts him, because he's like hundreds of years old, this guy. And he's just seen it all. So he can't believe that Tony Stark is able to outsmart him more than once. And I just love the dialogue exchange between Hickman is just killing it with that scene. He's the best at these confrontations between people. Just the dialogue of him saying about the whole playing possum speech. It just felt like I was watching I don't know, like a Quentin Tarantino movie or something. You know what I mean? It's pretty great. I really liked I liked that stuff a lot. And and then that whole ending, like you said, was crazy. Great stuff so far. I'm really enjoying this series. And also a good combination of aliens and Avengers. It's not like one is overpowering the other. He actually is making it all make sense and work for one another, honestly. I think it's very impressive.
When this came out, I had no interest in one bit. Generally, these crossovers are just trash, and this is far from it. I think this is great.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have 2 more issues to go. Hopefully he keeps the quality up, but I feel I have a good feeling he's going to. I don't think this is going to be another Predator versus Wolverine scenario. which went off the rails after that first issue. We were just like, whoa. But yeah, what'd you give this, Chris?
I give us a 4.
I was thinking
4.25 maybe.
yeah, that's I'm gonna go 4.25 on this one. Yeah, good stuff. All right, Chris, the Scorch 35.
Well, I think I just read this one online.
Great cover.
Yeah, think I missed a few pulls from my local comic shop. But here you get some history of medieval Spawn, I guess when he was first, I guess, conjured up there. And then it moves to the present day where I guess medieval Spawn was kind of sharing a body with somebody, and now he's kind of gone off the rails since they've been separated because he's so used to having, I guess, medieval Spawn in his head. And so I guess with that Scorch team, they're trying to figure stuff out. And then it moves on to Jessica Priest. She's sort of infiltrated that Jason Blood's, I don't know, company to get the whereabouts of medieval Spawn. And then she ends up in a battle with this Bishop character and his assistant. And it's a pretty decent battle. They got some good fight scenes, great art you don't expect, or what I come to expect whenever I read these issues. And I guess at one point, Jessica and this Bishop character, they both had bombs in their head, and if one were to die, then they both die. But there's a callback to, I guess, a previous issue where Haunt attacked Jessica, and that attack was just a fake to try and get that bomb deactivated in her head. And then she uses like some Vulcan nerve pinch to stop this Bishop guy's heart, and then boom! I don't know if you've seen the panel there, but his head just blows. Oh, there it is. Yeah, his head just blows up and takes out his assistant with them. And she goes back to the base and goes, "Hey, I know where medieval Spawn is now, and the team's going to head out to try and save him." And then you go back to that Blood Industries there, and they're kind of cleaning up the mess. And it turns out that assistant might be somebody else. It's the Viscerator. So it's all, get a nice little twist at the end, nice action. No complaints about this issue. I
Nice.
give it a 3.75.
Nice. Next up, we got Batgirl #1. So I read this one digitally originally, and then I liked it so much I actually went and picked up the issue because I didn't have this pre-ordered. So I might be in on this now. This
Here it's good.
This is the Art Germ cover variant.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, and then this is the regular one, which is this is annoying. So this ad was in all the issues this week from DC. Look at this. So much so they literally put the ad with the comment, and like how annoying is that? Like that's terrible.
Perfect. It's like an error issue.
So because of the variant on this, as they put the regular cover in, and the fact that he put this ad on all of them this week, they're side by side. Anyways, this is by Tate Brombal and Miyazawa is the artist. I don't know the first name here. Takeshi Miyazawa. Actually, I think I recognize that name. I think I've seen some comics by that artist before. Anyways, I wasn't too familiar with the creative team on this one, so I didn't jump at the opportunity to pre-order this. But I read it, and I love Cassandra Cain. That's like probably my favorite Batgirl. Like I read like there's like a 2000s run of this character when she was introduced, and it kind of really talked about Lady Shiva and how like that's her mother, and like how at that point in time Batman considered her like the best fighter and like the DC universe. Essentially, like she was like considered to be like, tough shit. Like like Batman, I think he was like, that was the only person he was like afraid that he would lose to type of thing. So they really kind of built up Lady Shiva as a character. And then like you find out that that's her mother. And then you found out that she's deaf, and she really didn't talk all that much as a character. Like over the years now, she talks a lot more now, but like originally she was just silent kind of like killer, like fighter type of deal. And she, and they, which they talk about in this issue, she's able to like, like from people's like the glances, she basically can read people. Like, and if people touch certain parts of their faces, she can kind of know what they're thinking. Like she has this intuition kind of about her that she learned from her mother about like how to use this type of stuff while you're in a fight scenario with somebody. And they get into it in this issue. The issue starts out, she's visiting her mother. She's like, "What the hell are you doing in town? Like, I have a good life here in Gotham. Please leave. I like what's going on with me in my life right now. Like, you're going to ruin things. Who the hell is this?" And then she points to a guy who's like dead on the floor that she put a sword through. She's like, "No killing. We don't kill." Like, get the hell out of here. They have to leave Gotham. Like, she's like, no, you don't understand. There's people after us. I'm your mother still. I came here because I'm worried about what's going to happen to us. I have to take you and we must go right now because there's like this cult or whatever that's after us. It doesn't even really explain who's after them. And turns out it is like this like group of kind of like these ninja guys show up that are like part of some cult, some group that are after them and some ancient kind of blood feud type of deal. And yeah, it's just off to the races. You see a lot of moments with her interacting with her mother in this. It kind of touches on like a lot of the roots of this character and a relationship with Lady Shiva. And then like also, you got some great fight sequences in this issue. Like I said, there's like ninjas, great art, good issue. The flow was good. It was a lot of good action in this one, some good dialogue between the characters, a reestablishing of the status quo of this character. And it kind of feels separate from what's going on with her over in Birds of Prey, which I'm going to talk about in a moment, because right now the current arc is also focused on Cassandra Cain. This is good stuff. I really thought this was a solid first issue. I give this a 4 out of 5. I'm definitely going to continue with this because I really like Cassandra Cain, as I mentioned. I'm really happy that this was good. Honestly, a pleasant surprise. So it may be worth checking out, Chris. You might want to check this one out before the next one comes, if you read it digitally or something, because it's good stuff. But yeah, it's just a good amount of action and and by the end of it, they go to like her, like she has like, I guess, a base of operations in Gotham, like a church, I don't know, like a temple or whatever that worships her or something and follows her ways of martial arts, and they go there for refuge, and then all of a sudden these guys bust in at the end, and then she's just like, well, I guess it's time for a showdown here, and then like you see Batgirl and her kind of size everybody up, like getting ready to fight, right? So I was just like, oh, this is awesome. So good stuff. And then I give it a 4 out of 5, like I mentioned. Next up, we got Birds of Prey number 15. So yeah, this is my last issue. I think I've pre-ordered of this. And now I'm second guessing it, man. I was like, it's not that this has been bad, but I just felt like this book could have been a lot better. It started off really strong, and then it kind of lost. I know, like even you, like there was like that arc where they kind of were going through different time periods and then bouncing around, and it was supposed to be like a fun story, but then I felt like the narrative of the story itself and the actual team kind of itself, like I didn't feel like it did to the first arc of the book. Like I think it kind of I didn't like her approach to that second story arc. It kind of lost me a little bit too. So by this next story arc, now we're already on issue 15. You had this whole thing where they had to infiltrate a base of operations last issue, and they're using Cassandra to do that, go in kind of like undercover. And in this issue, she basically finds out kind of what's going on. She finds out that they have the Amazons, because they're working with the Amazons now as well. Ever since that first arc, they're kind of trying to make good with them, and they find out that these people have abducted a bunch of Amazonian women that have them under lock and key, like they're like like prisoners there. And so Cassandra goes in, she tries to take them down in this issue. Like she basically reveals that, that she's against them, and she gets caught. And basically now the rest of the team is basically waiting to hear back from her and whether or not they need to go and infiltrate this place and save her now, because she's been caught as a prisoner. This whole operation has gone up, tits up there. And she gets imprisoned. And Barda is really pissed off about it, because Barda, that's like her best friend on the team. Like she's really grown attached to her. You actually see Black Canary being a good team leader in this issue, because she like has to talk to Barda and reassure her things are going to be okay. And she's like, we have to wait a little bit to hear back from her. Or if we don't hear back from her, we will go in, we will help her. Don't worry about it. And there's just a lot of great catching up scenes with the team at their base of operations outside of this whole Cassandra Cain thing, and how they're kind of having to deal with this situation now. And I think that was really needed. You needed more character moments. I feel like it's just been go, 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 go in this book, and we really haven't had a lot of team building moments in a team book. So I think that this was really necessary in this issue, and it was a really good issue. And now I'm kind of, again, conflicted, because I don't think I pre-ordered the next one. And finally, it seems like it's going in a good direction, but we'll see. I might stick to my guns and just continue to read it online. But 3.75 out of 5 this week. I thought it was a good issue, and honestly, if it continues like this, it's gonna get really good, I think. So we'll see what happens. A lot of Cassandra Cain this week too, which I'm really happy about, between this and her ongoing series. And then public domain number 10. I don't know if this is going on hiatus again because it did after the first 5 issues. And again, now we're at issue 10, but this does not seem like it's the end of the series. Definitely not. There's still more story to tell. It's very evident here. Or maybe it ended at 6 issues last time. I can't remember. So maybe it'll go to 12. Anyways, this explains after the big reveal at the end of last issue that it looked like the comic creator's wife had been cheating on him with his editor, who was a woman. It turns out that this is something that happened 30 years ago, back when I guess he was too preoccupied with his comic career. She was his editor at that point too. They got to know one another. She had like this, I guess, lesbian fling there. She said, she doesn't consider herself one, but this is a time where she was being ignored by her husband, and she fell for her and she really liked her and all this other stuff. And she's like, yeah, that's something it happened once 30 years ago. And I haven't really, but this is basically the story about how that happened. And you can tell, they're still having a rocky marriage right now, and the fact that she brought this story up that was unbeknownst to her husband, he's having a hard time processing all this, of course, because this is something that would really catch you off guard, right, if you didn't know. So so that's basically what this issue is. It's kind of explaining the big reveal that happened at the end of the last issue, and you kind of see them when they were younger, and he was kind of like a flourishing artist and really popular at that time, and it was like the midst of him actually becoming a big creator in the middle of his career, right? And how she kind of got to know the editor and how she took advantage of her, and then kind of discarded her, like it seemed like. And then the woman, I guess, made things better with her and her husband. And, so they're still together 30 years later. So they're obviously still are in love with one another to some degree, but this has definitely made things a little bit more difficult for them at the moment. So yeah, anyways, so not a lot about the actual comic business in this other than them doing well at the con. And the other comic creator, who's their competitor, has freaked out at the end of this issue because he found out they released an ash can, like one of those preview kind of comics at the con. Therefore, they beat them to the copywriting of the new direction of the domain character. So now they cannot, as a competitor, copy their idea that they're doing with 3 domains and all these different variations of domain, like the whole multiverse kind of aspect to the character now. So looks like they're in for some competition here now. It looks like they finally stuck it to his old partner there, the guy who was the writer. So yeah, good stuff. I really like this series. Some good character moments. 4 out of 5 once again this week, and looking forward to the next one. All right, Chris. Next up, you got Nemesis Rogues Gallery number 4.
Oops, sorry about that. Yeah, I've really enjoyed the series here, but I don't know. He's not really pushing the envelope in this one here. It's been a lot more, I guess, history of this one. It's a history of the team that's coming out to get him. And, they kind of got Nemesis pinned down there, and, they're using sonic weapons, so it looks like he's in a bit of trouble. And I think that he's talking to a sidekick, they're all trapped in a building, and he just ends up blowing up the building. And then they go back into history of, I guess, a previous sidekick, where that he screwed over, which of course he would do because he's Nemesis. But otherwise, it's still good action, great art. I got nice, good panels there where he's jumping through the windows and stuff like that. But nothing earth-shattering here that's going on. But it's still a good story. It's a fun romp.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with you. As you know, I've been more down on this miniseries than you have, despite really enjoying previous Nemesis miniseries. This one hasn't really been doing it for me as much. I actually don't really like the artist on this one. But like you said, there's still some good moments, some good action in it. And my favorite part about this is honestly how they ended it by saying that this guy is going to that island that's like
Epstein's other island.
Epstein's other island. I was like, what the hell is going on in this book? Which is like, that's a pretty touchy subject. I was like, whoa.
He's not backing away from that, that's for sure.
So I thought that was pretty great, like how you revealed that he's fleeing to Epstein's other island after he found out that although they barely got away with their heads intact, his partner there did steal the valuable stone that he was looking for, that he was needing to fund his whole mission here. So I kind of thought that was a pretty good ending to this issue. And that on top of the fact, like you said, you learn about his old sidekick, that whole origin of that, as well as the Epstein Island thing just threw me for a loop at the end. So I was like, what the hell's going on? So like,
Well, he is going after the elite rich, so it doesn't make
yeah,
sense. That's where they all are.
yeah. No, I did not see that coming. I was just like, whoa. So yeah, I was like, like, again, this is it totally feels like that's something that would happen in a Nemesis comic, if I'm being
Yeah.
completely honest. So yeah, good stuff. I did like that part of it. So what'd you give this, Chris?
I got a 3.75.
Yeah, same. I probably like this issue more than the last couple because of that. I thought it ended really well. Next up, we got the Sacrificers number 12. With the regular series artist back on the book for this arc now. We've told that Saluna or whatever her side story there, and how she kind of got to be prisoner here. Max Fiumara is back on the book with this one. What'd you think of this, Chris?
Once again, I don't know. I did want, this was the last book I read. I wasn't excited to read this. Then once you get into it, I kind of saw the first few pages. It got a little wordy. Nothing was happening. But then once they get into the story again, it's like, whoa, what the heck is going on here? And it's just brutal.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to this Rick Remender guy.
He's got some demons for sure.
Got something going on, you think the whatever, when Pigeon gets back there, he's got superpowers, he's kicking ass, everything's great. He sees his little sister, so it enrages him further. And you just want to see him get revenge on the that guy that took him. And then, the first part there, he busts the mask off the guy, and the guy's a pigeon too. I almost thought that was Pigeon from the future or something, but at least they didn't do anything like that. And then, then I think it looks like he blasts him. And then his mother comes out of nowhere holding his little sister. And then she's dead. And she just chews him out. Oh, just bad what she does to him.
Was that his mother or his father at the end that tells him off? Was that his mother or
one of his parents? I thought it was his mother. Maybe it was the father.
I think it was his father. But yeah, they say some like stuff you can't take back type of stuff.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're a curse. I wish you were dead instead of her. You sent me away to die. Going, I wish they killed you. Then none of this would have happened. And then you see the aftermath of his fight, and the place is just in rubbles. Oh,
yeah, that was tragic. I agree with you. But you know what, though? Honestly, actions have consequences. I think that's what this story is about.
Great.
I think that's what this story is about, right? I mean, hence even the name, the Sacrificers. Like, you have to, like, there's whenever something, like, you think, like you said, we all want to see him get his revenge in this, but unfortunately, he just went a little too crazy here. And guess what? This is what ended up happening, right? Like, it's just, and meanwhile, the Saluna there or whatever, she's locked up with being led around there, and she's a prisoner right now. She's had her powers taken away from her as a result of what happened with that pigeon. Her family's dead. Like, I mean, this is it is a tragic story being told here. You're right. It's brutal. It's brutal. But it's good stuff. It's
good stuff. Yeah, like it keeps on. I think I'm almost out of this one, but then every story is great.
Yeah. And honestly, like, I'm really, as much as the other artist that he brought in was good for those 2 issues or whatever, I'm glad Max Fiumara is back on the book. I think again, this is just like a creator-owned book. Its identity is based off of the artist that draws it, because it's usually always the same artist. And I just felt like back at home with this issue, with the fact that artist is back, and like the last artist they brought on, who he's worked with before and other things, great artist. I just think that I'm happy this artist is back overall. Yeah.
So, being all new characters, I feel like, they wouldn't have the weight behind them when they're doing things like that. And it just does, you figure, oh, if this was with characters you were familiar with, it'd be so much better. But this is, I can't say anything bad about this.
Yeah, good book. Yeah, absolutely. Good issue. What'd you give this?
I gotta give this one a 4.25.
Yeah, that's for that moment alone. I did not see it going that way. Yeah, 4.25 as well for me. Good stuff. All right, next up we got Batman 154, Chris.
Yeah, I had this on my pull list too. I didn't get a, like I said, I didn't get a copy, so we'll see what's going on when I get back there. But I think there's just too many of the same Batman stories going on. This has the same look as that Long Halloween. Maybe it's a different story, but they shouldn't have too many of these stories running at the same time. And like he's doing his sleuthing stuff. It's an interesting story going on. What the mayor's been killed. He's got his half brother there. I'm not too keen on how they're explaining his brother that Thomas Wayne was sleeping around with somebody. Not too keen on that. And then the ending of this one goes right off the rails. I like the Star Commander guy. That's
Yeah.
he kind of pops in there. He's got some good lines and kind of comes in at a good time. But if like, I'm still not even sure if what I think happens at the end is what happens. Like, does Jim Gordon turn on Batman there, and Jim Gordon's the one that killed the mayor?
Yeah. So he was keeping something a secret from him, which I think he had found he was about to find out at the end of this issue, and that's why he turns his gun on him. And Batman is just appalled by this. He's like, "You turn a gun on me?" Like he just freaked out. And
well, Jim Gordon should know. I can't fucking put a gun on Batman.
Yeah. Well,
like,
no,
you got to shoot him in the back if you're going to shoot him. There's nothing facing him, but.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's basically what happened at the end of this issue. I don't know. I think there's a lot going on here. I agree with you. It's not all that interesting, some of the stuff that's happening in this.
And then stuff where where he has got to give half his money to his illegitimate brother or his newfound brother. And oh yeah, just give him half the money. What DNA test would be too messy. I think giving away half $3 billion is worth the mess, personally. But
I here's the thing though. I have no doubt though that Zdarsky is not phoning this in. Like,
no, I think he wrote this story, in good conscience, and it's a decent story.
Yeah, I just think that there's a lot going on in this. I don't think he's phoning it in. I have no doubt that he's trying to tell an interesting story here, but there's a lot going on here, and I think it's gotten a bit messy as a result in terms of because for some people, just having this character introduced and his storyline would be enough, but we got that going on. We got he likes playing with 6 different plot lines at the same time. It seems like we're going.
And knowing that this is going to be over in 2 or 3 months too doesn't help.
Is that confirmed yet, though?
Yeah, it's confirmed.
Oh, I didn't hear it was confirmed. Okay, yeah. So then, I mean, what are we doing here then? Yeah, that's
pretty much.
That's unfortunate. I think overall, I think it's been a good run, but there's some stuff I don't love that's happening in this story right now, and I guess we'll see how this all unfolds now. But I mean, that's unfortunate.
I think Zdarsky, he was under too much pressure from the editors or something. Like, I think if they gave him free reign to do what he wanted, I think it'd be a whole lot better.
What have you preferred so far with a couple of months left to go? And I mean, obviously you can revisit this once it actually ends, but this or his Daredevil run?
Oh, his Daredevil 100%. Like, I think he had more freedom to Daredevil, do whatever he wanted with the character. Here, he was, he had to force in some whatever. Like, even if the gang war was his idea, which I can't see that being his idea. That gang war is baloney that he had. The stuff that he had with Failsafe, that worked out, but then, to have that kind of just hijack for absolute power and then just disappear at the end of that. The Zur-En-Arrh stuff, it wasn't my favorite, but that he kind of brought back some old Batman lore. So he did have some things going on there, but
he had some high points to his run, I will say. Like we've mainly, I think, more so praised it than have said it hasn't been great. Like I think it's, but if we're comparing the two, and I'm just comparing them because they're both long runs on established characters that he did within both companies the last few years, I would probably go with Daredevil as well. But I think this had some great moments to his run, honestly. But I think you're right. Unfortunately,
I think he had more freedom with the Daredevil character than he does with Batman.
Too much editorial interference with the Batman stuff. Yeah, I feel that too. Yeah, too many events going on. Too many things happening with the character. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. So what'd you give this?
I'll give it a 3.5. 3.75. That turn at the end. But
I'm gonna stick 3.5 out of 5 for this one too.
Yeah, it's a big deal that Gordon turns on him, but that can't be true. He's got to be under the influence of something.
Next up, we got Plastic Man No More. I didn't even write the number there. Number 3. There you go. And then I got this cover here, him in the window pane. I kind of like that, but yeah. What'd you think of this, Chris?
This is another. another crazy story. I don't want to say brutal, like not brutal as in bad, but just I don't know what Plastic Man does in this comic here. It's just crazy, you know. It's such a this is great, a great black label. Like this
Yeah.
is why it can be a black label, you know. Um, the way he's not the Mr. Jokey Plastic Man of the jokes. It's kind of what happens when he goes home and the jokes are over, and just the way he's kind of going through here. And he explains what he's explaining. He has the I don't know whatever the site update there with the Justice League. He goes, yeah, I saved whatever the Uranium Man, and then kind of under his breath, and all
Yeah,
the Venom Men died.
other metal men are dead, but
Oh yeah, everyone died. Then there he goes. They're like, what? And,
anyways, he was saved because of me. Because of my mission. But
yeah, he's like, nobody told. Like, I just saved a nuclear catastrophe here, and lost a few men. And then he quits the Justice League, and he's going back home. And then I guess he's trying to get his son there. And I'm believing he's there, for his son. They're gonna have a good adventure to try and do things, and and they push you on that too. When they're kind of whatever they're long walking, doing whatever they do, and they're kind of both having fun doing it. It's like, oh, Dad, this is great. And then freaking, he's got to turn on them. Oof, brutal.
unforgiving, yeah. For just a lot of tragedy this week in comics that we're talking about. Yeah, it's another great issue with one more issue to go. I think it's only four. I think it's only maybe four. It might be five. I think it's four though.
Oh,
Anyway,
and Detective Chimp too. Jeez Louise.
oh, he's dead. Yeah.
You're frying him with a flamethrower. Was that because all the gas that was coming out from his wounds there or something?
So here's the thing, though. Again, that's one of those scenes. I don't know if what we're witnessing is real or not in this story. Because, it just seemed odd because he's meeting with that no face guy and another woman. Then you see him kind of, like in the background, like slinking around, like trying to spy on him. And he's like, oh, hold on a second. And like, he literally just goes like a little further away because he's like where he's standing. Like, don't you think Detective Chimp would have seen all those other people before they got the drop on him? It seems like, I don't know. It didn't seem real. It seems like, I don't know if everything we're seeing in this story because it's coming from his
Maybe Detective Chimp has a plan.
maybe. I don't know. I just that
He
whole
just say, "Oh, you got my back." He complained, "I thought you had my back." And maybe Detective, I got your back. Don't worry, we'll see. In the next episode, he'll take off his flame retardant suit or something,
right.
and be able to help him.
Yeah, I don't know. It just didn't seem right to me. Like it all seems like surreal, like some of the events of this book, like if it's actually happening or not. Like it seems, I don't know. It's interesting. Like the same thing, like what was happening when he's interacting with the Justice League and they're like ignoring him, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Did you just say the metal man are dead? He's like, oh yeah, you better get on the phone and alert Doctor or whatever his name is, the guy who's like the handler of the metal man.
Well, and that guy that they have captured, he's just stuck in that whatever, in that like that mummy tomb or something.
Yeah.
The sarcophagus, and he's just talking with everybody like they're all pals.
Yeah, it's good stuff. It's a good series. Like you said, this is kind of what Black Label the good
Yeah,
stuff.
that's what Black Label should be.
Yeah, absolutely. What'd you give this, Chris?
I give us a 4.
Same. 4 out of 5 this week. Yeah, and overall, if it's like one or two more issues, I think they're going to stick the landing with this one. I think this is going to be honestly a mini series to check out if you guys missed it.
Yeah.
Even if you're not familiar with this character, I think it's worth checking out because this will give you the basic introduction of his origins and tell you a really messed up story involving him, which is honestly, you're not going to get this in your regular comics of this character. Trust me, it's just not a story that you would see in the pages of Justice League, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, good stuff. Yeah, 4 out of 5. Avengers 20, Chris.
Yeah, it was the story, I guess, was Black Panther focused. He's where did he go? He's like inside the, I don't know, whatever. He's stuck in some world there.
Yeah.
And he's kind of rallying the people to fight against their overlords. You got a bit of history of what this kind of world is. It was a decent story. You got good action, good Black Panther being Black Panther.
Yes.
You kind of, you can see his king or his leadership qualities there, where he gets all the, the people, and he has to do some badass things to kind of get some of these gangs to follow him, and realize getting these kind of fractured gangs to come together to fight against the, I don't even know what they were called, the people that had the food, let's say. And yeah, it's good stuff. I don't know if they got to spend too many issues on this, but it's good seeing Black Panther, do some Black Panther things.
Absolutely. I think this was a really good hopefully one-shot issue of Black Panther, like you said, being Black Panther. And I feel like it's been a while since I've seen him kind of be the character I know him to be, like in this sense, like and this being a whole Avengers issue dedicated to it. I thought Jed McKay did a really good job. It's just a really solid Black Panther issue, honestly. Like I was really happy to read this, and I didn't know what to expect going into this. Like you said, it's kind of confusing, like because they're trying to take down this bad guy, so he had to like go into like some pocket dimension thing or something. I don't know what the hell's going
Yeah,
on.
basically they're trapped in the pocket dimension, so he couldn't really just rescue them and send them home because I think if they left, they'd all die. So basically, he has to try and make this home better for them. I guess they feel they were like, aren't they the victims of whatever the coven? Not the is the blood coven? Is that no the ones before that
Yeah.
the Judgment Day, not
Yes.
Judgment Day,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Meridius
I
or
know what you're
something.
talking about. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, a bunch of lame characters those were.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, no, honestly, just a really good Black Panther story, honestly. And
Yeah,
yeah, that's the best thing I could say about this because I haven't read a lot of good Black Panther lately. So
yeah. I think we'll be jumping in the Avengers in the next few in the some of the next solicitations.
nice. What'd you give this?
I was 3.75.
Yeah, same. 3.75 out of 5. Then he got the Ultimates number 6. This one here.
Where'd mine go?
And honestly, Marvel, keep doing this. This is great. And the problem is you haven't been doing this, I don't think, with all your titles. So I got the variant of this one, but then on the inside, even though it's not a cardstock cover like DC does, they show it.
Yeah.
Like that's solid. Like I just do that. I don't even need to. Like you're already paying $5 for this, which is the same price of a cardstock DC comic because this is oversized. Yeah. You might as well give me the other cover in there. But yeah,
I like put the cover on the front. They can put that on the other side there. I want that cover on the cover.
And then I got this is the cover I got here though, which is pretty cool, like a connecting one. But yeah, what'd you think of this, Chris?
Wow, this was a great issue.
Yes,
Ultimates freaking finally delivers there. Just having the team together, I thought would be a big deal. And then I guess they're on some rescue mission, and they think they just got to, they're kind of behind the walls, and Tony Stark's disabled all the cameras, so he has a little chance to rally the troops there. And then they bust through, and then the Hulk is just sitting there. And that's the way he should be, even just the Hulk there, guys, let's have some tea, let's talk about this. And and they're like, no way. And then freaking once the Hulk starts fighting, you find out he's got you find out they're in what's that, Kung Lao, or what's the Iron Fist place? But
yeah. Kung Lao, I think
he's got the Iron Fist freaking powers, which makes sense because he's been, living this world there the whole time. The only thing I didn't like about it is when when they're calling his moves there or something, it's like, oh, this is the 3-ton gigabyte slap. That's something that was kind of running throughout the whole series. I think it'd make more sense for you to kind of just throw it in here for like, it was kind of like a cheap parlor trick to me there. And once he had this team showed up, I was getting bad vibes about that too. This just reminding me of, the Blood Coven and those Meridius people there. And
no, but this is like the Immortal Iron Fist, the Immortal, like he does have like a group of like immortal weapons. Like this is basically just like a different variation of that thing that already existed with Iron Fist, essentially.
But I have just seen this team, this team of unstoppable people there come out. But at the very least, these weren't unstoppable people. I think a few of them got their asses kicked.
They did.
They tried to put the boots to the Hulk, and that didn't turn out well. And then, I see Reed Richards back, or whatever, Doom, whatever you want to call him. He's back at the base wondering where they all left to. And, suppose they're in some almost like heaven-like state there. And then he figures out a way to find them. And then when he does, it's just in the nick of time. And it was kind of I thought it was a great episode, or a great issue. They just got their freaking asses handed to them, got saved in the nick of time. But they know this is all waiting out there for them, and they got to come up with a plan. And this is just going to happen again. It's not like they found, they got some information that was a key to defeating them. And this is just, the Hulk in them. Never mind what the Maker's doing when he comes back.
Yeah, and he grabbed the other Hulk's hand and like busted the hand
Oh,
off. Yeah, that was crazy. I like the whole Immortal Iron Fist take on the Hulk in this one, this version of the Hulk. And I agree with you. I agree with everything you said. It was a great issue. I actually really, really love this series. I think it just keeps getting better and better. And with the way that this ended with Tony Stark there,
yeah.
Iron Lad possibly being dead, because the Hulk picked him up and like crunched him in his armor and
Yeah.
and then during the fight. And they have a year to go till like whatever this moment is. They said 12 months to go at the end of this. I'm just like, oh shit, like it's on now. Like
Yeah.
that was a crazy way to end this first arc, honestly. And like, yeah, I can't wait for the next issue. It's great stuff. I'm really enjoying this series. And like you said, the art's good. Interesting cast of characters. An actual high stakes story being told
Yeah,
too.
for
Like
sure.
not like some baloney. Like no, this like they're really taking into account. Like, listen, we brought the Ultimates universe back. Let's tell a proper story with it because these characters, who cares? They're all just variations of characters, anyways.
And
Like,
that, and when they were outside that, before they broke into whatever that jail, they're trying to rescue some other superheroes. Yeah, I'm wondering, who's going to think? That's what I'm thinking. It's like, who are these new heroes going to be? Maybe we're going to get some new, some new Avengers or new people to join the cause. And they bust open that door, and that whole switch or that whole situation was flipped, and I love that.
yeah, good stuff. I liked it a lot too. What'd you give this?
I might have to give this a 4.5. I think.
Wow, high rating from Chris, who's very critical. Yeah, I'll give 4.25 on this one. I don't know if I can get there 4.5, but yeah, that's one of Chris's highest ratings of the year right there, folks. There you go. I don't think you gave out a 5 this year. I don't think you give it a 1.5. I think you
I
came
don't think
close.
so.
You
No,
came close. I think you gave out a 4.75. I don't think you gave a 5 though. But
I have
yeah.
to go back to see what that was.
Also it's I just remember it's Kun Lun, not Kung Lao. Yeah, I knew
Yeah,
it was I was
Kung Lao, he's the guy from Mortal Kombat.
yes,
Kung Lun.
yeah,
Or
close enough. No, I
what's
couldn't.
that? Like Ramadesh, or doesn't the Iron Fist live in like some forbidden city or something?
Yeah,
Or is
Kun
that
Lun.
Doctor Strange?
You're thinking of Doctor Strange. I think Shamba. No, Kun Lun is the Iron Fist place.
Where's Doctor Strange? Like, or
Marrakesh.
Doctor Wong live?
I forgot it. I can't remember.
Traumatized or something?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't remember. I'll look it up.
They gotta make easier names for this
I
crazy
should
stuff.
know. I am a big Doctor Strange fan. Shame on me. All right, X Factor number 4, Chris.
Yeah, I've been high on X Factor. This one was okay too. I don't expect much from this story. I was hoping it'd be better. There was some classic lines here though with that Granny Smith. I think they have a mission to the center of the earth. And like Granny, I guess Havoc says, Granny, I don't think you can come on this one. You hang back, and she's like, oh wow, I don't care if I die. He goes, well, since you can't die, what if you get collapsed in there and you're trapped under there forever? She's like, oh, yeah, good idea, thanks. And then there's another, I guess, a love story going on between, I don't know, these two characters. And I guess it's a nice, whatever, heartwarming story there where he has to sacrifice his relationship because if he stayed around, she would die. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then whatever situation they were, there's a little bit of intrigue, but nothing crazy. And
Yeah, no, I still really enjoy this series, but I agree. This was probably, yeah, this is definitely like a lesser, a nice one and done story, but not as good as the previous issues have been. Yeah, for sure. I
I
agree
guess
with
they're teasing some battle with this extern team or something, so that's something to look forward to. I think.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this is definitely him taking a breather. It felt like with this one before he amps up probably with the next direction of this series. Although, like you said, it was a nice like story of these two kind of. I thought it was actually going to go. It's funny because he even made a comment about it at the end of this issue, like, "Oh, no one died this time. What the hell?" Right? Like it was just true. That's kind of like I feel like he kind of pulled out a swerve on us here where we were expecting every issue to go I thought this guy was done for sure. Let's say the ex boyfriend here, but they were able to work things out. It seemed like by the end of this issue for the most part. So that's where I think like he kind of played with our expectations of what this series has been so far. But yeah, it was a nice moment. I look forward to the next one. I still think this is a really good series, but Yeah, this is definitely, I feel like, a little bit of a breather, this issue. And the place where he trained apparently is Carmartage. There you go, Chris.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't like the big spiders though. What the hell?
Well, yeah, that's great. What kind of the spiders eat metal? What the hell? Come on.
Just journey to the center of the earth over here. I don't know
Yeah,
what's. Anyways, what would you give this?
I gave it a 3.75 though. I liked it.
Same. Yeah, it was a fine issue. It just wasn't as great as like the greatness of power dogging that we got the last three.
Yeah, no Power Dog reference here, but I guess you got to save those.
That's right.
And they throw it out there every issue.
Oh. All right, next up, X-Men number 7.
Oof. Yeah, I picked. I think I had this on my pull list too, just never got it out. And I guess this one starts in back a little bit of a back in the past again. You got that Scott Summers, and I never knew he had some farm in Anchorage, Alaska, and that's why they're there. Like, what the heck? What are these people? Who's gonna have a freaking family house in Anchorage, Alaska? But anyways, I like the stuff seeing with Magneto when he was at full power. I guess it explains some of that story about how he lost his legs there. Because that was a surprise to me when he kind of showed up in the chair like Professor X.
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of run through that story too with that little kid that she thinks she's a mutant, and you thought that she froze that Sentinel, and it seems that that wasn't the case. It was Cyclops and Magneto fighting that Sentinel, and it was a good fight with the Sentinel. You know, a good story there with the kid, and they find out the kid isn't a mutant. She's all upset, and well, maybe not upset, but you find out there could be something else going on. So it's some good stuff going on here, but I don't know. It's just still not pulling me in yet.
No, I actually think I really needed this issue. This I actually think was a good issue. I haven't been loving this series so far, as you know, we've talked about here on the show. This was a much needed issue, in my
I
opinion.
do like the art in this issue. I like this art better than Stegman's art
Wow.
for this issue, for the X-Men at least.
I think it's
You know,
growing.
Cyclops looks like Cyclops should look like. He doesn't look like a little kid with a big head and big muscles.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you're making a good argument there. Yeah, this is the Natho Diaz or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I didn't like the first time this artist jumped on the book, but I will say his art is growing on me. I do think he looked good in this issue. I agree with you. Yeah, I just needed Cyclops kind of sitting there drinking, being pissed off about like you know his you know him being team leader, how he's kind of you know done so far, and I needed that moment between him and Magneto being able to talk about this stuff over a beer. I liked the thing how it ended up with the kid. I liked the you know them giving what's her name shit about keeping secrets from the team. Like there was a lot of really good, much needed moments. And it seems like Jed McKay and even like explanations of why they got to this point. If we missed out on that whole thing that him mentioning that this was his family home, if they've mentioned that before now, like you, I had no idea that was the case. So I feel like this was like almost like Jed McKay's like, you know what, this book's getting away from me a little bit. I need to kind of like buckle down and address some shit that's been happening in this story so far. And that's kind of like what I felt like this issue did. And Chris, the biggest part about this issue, you didn't even mention, honestly, for me, was the fact that they mentioned that they're learning that there is all the people that got resurrected during the Krakoa era, there is possibly some repercussions as a result.
Yeah, what do they call it that? Well, that's what they think happened to Magneto, right?
Right. That's right.
That RLSD, but
they're losing
their that's something that's happening.
They're losing control of their powers now.
And
they're like, and then he's like, it's the Cyclops. He's like, how many times did you come back, get resurrected during that period?
Yeah, he got off the lot. Like, what about Wolverine? Wolverine
right.
He was killed like freaking 30 times.
Right. So this is going to probably be very interesting what happens as a result of that. I just like how he threw that in there. And I'm just like, that's not good because like the whole time they're being resurrected, we thought there was no repercussions from it. And no, again, something has to happen as a result of your actions. Again, it's just like the sacrifice. Oh, I'm sorry. You can't just come back to life 5 times and nothing's going to happen. No, something's going to happen now. So Magneto.
That would be good if a lot of them just started freaking dropping off. I mean, not dead, but
lose control of their
power. Just kind of, just kind of taken off the board. Because I did like seeing Magneto back when he was powerful again. Now that they have him, they're sitting in a chair just freaking moaning and groaning, and I don't like that so much. And then whatever this kid there, I guess she does have mutant powers at the end of the day.
It looks like it, yeah. Which again, that's even bigger a mystery that they weren't able to
Yeah.
identify it. And someone kidnapped Beast at the end of this. So I don't know. I thought this was a really good issue. Actually, I like this. What'd you give this?
I'm giving it a 3.5 though. It didn't, for whatever reason, it just didn't sit with me.
I'll give it a 3.85. I'm not close to. I'm close to giving.
Are we going to do that now? 3.85s.
Well, listen, I almost want to give it a 4, but I don't want to give it a 4. So you know what I'm saying? So I think it's close. I think it's close. So yeah, whatever. 3.75 for Chris's sake. All right, whatever. 3.95. All right, Chris. All right.
3.875.
All right, Chris. Venom War number 4.
Yeah, I just been reading this Venom War online, and I don't know how well this book is doing, but freaking big things are happening. Like when that King in Black stuff was going on, was that like a big story that was kind of hyping up the whole community? Because like I feel like this is some big stuff is going on here, and it just seems to be. I don't feel that it's getting the hype it deserves. But it's good here. You got Spider-Man there. I think he ends up taking off, and that leads to the Venom War Spider-Man series. So that's good. But basically, you have all the Venoms coming together. I got Flash showing up, and I think Eddie Brock takes over the Flash or the anti-Venom suit there for a bit, and then that's how they end up killing all the zombiotes. And you have Meridius there. He's sitting back with Carnage and kind of watching how things are played out. And he thought he knew what was going on, and I guess Eddie's pulling some swerves there, so he's got to up his game. And then friggin', I think at the end, out of nowhere, Dylan Brock freaking kills Eddie Brock. I'm like, what the heck is going on? I know. Did you read this or no?
I did, yeah. No, it's a lot happening in this. I can't disagree. There's a lot of action, a lot of stuff happening. Obviously, there's a lot of threads, kind of, I guess that, a lot of character moments, like, I think are finally coming to a head here from, if I had to guess, because as you know, I wasn't reading Venom before this, that.
Yeah, and another thing, this should all be happening in Venom, and whatever's going on in the Venom comic, they could have freaking put this in this baloney series.
Yeah, I do have it on good authority, at least from a couple of retailers that I've spoken to, though, that this book and the line of Venom War books have been doing very well for them, from what I understand. So yeah, that's what I've been hearing. So I think it has been a popular event. Yeah, this was crazy. What happened here? The anti-Venom stuff, like, there's a lot of, like you said, they're throwing. Like I said, previous issues of this, they're throwing everything at the wall to see what sticks during this event. Like, they're like, any character, any Venom you wanted to see, any symbiote, anything you wanted to see happen with these characters, they're really, they're leaving it all out on the table here at this point. It's pretty crazy.
And you figure all this is happening in Madison Square Gardens in like the span of maybe an hour or something.
Yeah, in a wrestling ring. So there you go. What'd you give this, Chris?
I have to give this a 4. It's great. I wish I was in on this.
I'll go 3.75. I'm enjoying it though, but I feel like, I don't know. It feels undeserved for me to come in on this at this point in time, because like I haven't read all the events that led up to this, right? So I feel like I'm missing something.
And nothing led up to this. Freaking, it was all that freaking time travel in the Garden of Eden with Meridius and baloney stuff.
Okay, so there you go. So I'm enjoying it for what it is then. All right, Chris's favorite book ever, Venom War Spider-Man number 4, with his boy Greg Land, which has one of the most pornish faces I've ever seen in a comic this week. We're gonna get to it because I wanted to isolate this image, Chris. So first off, there's the cover.
Yeah, well, look, if we're gonna talk that what he likes to do is what he does, he could have done something a whole lot better here.
Because in
my opinion, like with all his covers,
the leg is up. But there's like a moan face going in the art.
Yeah, watch, he's falling. What are you gonna do? Oh, I'm falling. Oh, I'm falling.
It's not even this. I'll get to the page. Okay.
I know, don't worry.
I'm like, whoa. Anyways, go on. What'd you think of this?
And who's writing this? This Colin Lansing or Colin Kelly and Jackson Lansing?
Yeah.
I don't know if they got free reign to write this story. But the story is right up my alley, but not. What? It's the same thing that happened in the first issue. It's a freaking story you just want to have, and just like everything is looking good here the whole time. I got Mary Jane. She's giving Spider-Man the eyes. They have freaking great moments in here.
Okay, what's
Look
going
at that moment. That's great. And then he throws a freaking flag at her or something.
Look at the face here.
Uh,
That's not a
I
bone
think
face.
I know what video that's from.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, but with the story there, once they're in that whatever, he's got to enter that arachniote or whatever, and then even what's her name, Mary Jane's telling him, get out of here, you can't be doing this, and he's just putting himself out there, risking his life, and then for whatever reason, they think it's all an illusion, and they're both sort of in a shared mind, and they have freaking great moments in there. Oh, and then they come out, whatever, I guess she helps them destroy that arachnoid through the power of love. I don't know what happened, but they blow it up, and then he's kind of feeling good about himself, and then the speaker's working. Oh, and then the fucking just goes to shit again. But
It's a lot of fan servicey stuff. Absolutely.
yeah, I don't mind the one bit. It's about
I,
time.
I
Give
think
it
the
to me.
land art looked good, even as much as I make fun of that kind of stuff too. You know
I was
what?
a little disappointed in the land art in this issue, though.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess this is for the last issue. Maybe he didn't really give it his all this one. I don't know, but I will say there was some really great moments in this. And again, the writers, they came back to kind of like what the series started out as, in the sense that, again, he's like, the way he's narrating it, it's like he has like a sexual encounter with Venom or something. Like he's like in love.
Yeah,
It's like a love story about, oh yeah, all these people that you're with, and they don't know that we have the real thing going on. Like I'm like, it's like he's like in love with him, like the way he is narrating this book, right?
yeah.
Like it's like there's like a sexual undertone of the stuff going on in this series. Like it's very strange. It's like, but I like it. It's interesting. It's like I've never heard it like they must know what they're doing. Like they know that that's
I think this is the best Venom and Spider-Man sort of interaction in a long time, where it's just the Venom suit. It's not like Venom's with Eddie Brock, and I know they kind of respect each other as people or whatever. Just having the suit, like just the things they did in this whole whatever this 4-issue series that's not from the past. It's all sort of kind of happening at this time, and then you kind of see what would happen with Spider-Man in the last issue if he did keep Venom. And then, just freaking him sitting on the chair there going, fucking, that's my life, looking at the Spider-Man suit. He's almost happy that he's not with MJ because he doesn't want to draw her into this mess of a life that he is, or, the danger that he's in. But, she's a freaking crazy superhero to begin with now anyway. So, but I love this issue too, personally.
you love this series. This is
Yeah,
over
this
now. This is
was,
the last issue, but you liked it for sure.
yeah, like if these guys do an arc in the main ASM, I heard their name thrown around there and everybody's booing them. But if they're gonna kind of do some fan service for an arc, I don't mind. We deserve a fan service arc
Yep.
after all the garbage we've been put
No,
through.
I overall like this series as much as I joked about some things during it, but it's just because I found it funny, certain things. But I think overall, I actually like this tie-in better than the Venom War, to be honest with you, because I think it's been a really good examination of their relationship, of Peter Parker and Venom's relationship. I mean, that's what it's being about, right? And I think like after having so many years of these characters being intertwined as a result of like that's where Venom came from to
Yeah,
begin with.
well, them being so apart for so long too.
Yeah,
Like, it's almost at the end of this. You go, who do you want Spider-Man to be with, Venom or Mary Jane?
right, right. But that's what I mean. Like it's that because of all the history that they've all had together, that's what makes it work. It actually was an interesting angle I felt like they took in terms of the storytelling on this one. So yeah, I really liked it as well. I agree with you. What'd you give this?
I could have only given it a 4 though, or something. It's not. It was. I love this, but still not great.
Yeah, 3.95. All right, next time I'll give it a
I'll
4.
give it a 4.05. How's that?
I'll give this one a 4. I like overall. I think the miniseries is a 4. Honestly, I thought it was pretty solid. Anyways, all right. Chris, that's going to do it for the books we want to talk about this week. Ran a little long. A lot of books that came out this week that we talked about. Not only that,
Well, there were some good books this
a
week, though.
really
That was a
solid
good
week.
week.
Yeah, that's what I'm realizing right now. Honestly, like I feel like we praised more than we said. Like there's more books we enjoyed than we didn't. That's for sure. And even the ones that we didn't were just like, mid, as the kids say these days. they were just okay. All right, Chris, what are you reading next week, though?
Next week, I think I'm buying, or at least on my pull list, was Amazing Spider-Man 61. Is that the beginning of the 8th? That's the Spider-Man, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should be, yeah.
Hopefully they do something good with this, but I don't got my hopes up high. Venom 39, don't got no hopes for that either. Venom War Wolverine, number 3. That's been mid, as you like to say. I got Absolute Batman 2. Looking forward to that. See, hopefully I can put on my socks and they get knocked off. I got DC versus Vampire, whatever, World War V, number 4. Transformers, I know, what is it, 13, 14 or something?
Yeah.
Looking forward to that one. I think I've got some good stuff going on there. G.I. Joe number 1, that's coming out too, so hopefully that's good. And I think I might have Witchblade still. I don't know. We'll see. And there's a bunch of other ones I'm reading. There's a lot of other stuff out there. I just don't have the list in front of me.
I got next week I got Absolute Batman number 2, Amazing Spider-Man 61, Black Hammer returns, Black Hammer Spiral City number 1, DC versus Vampires World War V number 4. Like you said, G.I. Joe number 1, Minor Arcana number 3, the Jeff Lemire series. You didn't have, maybe not picking it up. Psylocke number 1 comes out next week.
Oh yeah, Psylocke. Yeah, I got that too.
Got the art germ cover for that one. Transformers 14, Uncanny X-Men number 5, which we've been really enjoying. And yeah, there's some things I'll read digitally as well. Let me just take a look. I do have the list up, so let me just take a quick look, see if there's anything that I know you read.
Read a preview for that Psylocke. It looked pretty good so far.
Oh, I didn't see the preview. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear that. I mean, I felt like I was just getting it for the covers at this point.
Yeah.
If it's good,
I know my solicitation or my January pickups, I think it might be off. There's so many other ones coming up in January. We got the Magic, you got the Rogue.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you. It might be the same for me too, but you'll see how this first issue goes. I'm just looking right now if there's anything else. Nothing too much standing out to me here from DC. Dark Horse. Let's take a look at Image. No, G.I. Joe 1, as we mentioned. I don't know if there's anything else we're reading digitally here in Image. Transformers, we mentioned. Yeah, Witchblade comes out, as you mentioned. Well, other than Marvel, that might be it. There might not be many things we're talking about digitally. I don't know. Cap comes out next week. Maybe you're going to be checking out the last.
Oh, yeah, I'm reading that one. That's been a good story going on there. I thought I had that. Maybe it's the next issue. I thought I got one of the variants for that for whatever reason.
NYX. I don't know if you're still reading that. I'm not.
No. Read.
Yeah, I think that's about it. There's not.
Is NYX with Kitty Pryde and Emma Frost, or is that a different one?
No, that's another one. NYX is the Laura Kinney book that's all the kids in New York, the younger ones. The other one is I forgot. Exceptional X-Men is that the one you're talking about? Yeah.
Too many X-Men books right now, man. It's all down.
Yeah, and there's more to come, right? Yeah, that's it. I actually don't think there's much I'm actually reading digitally next week. So yeah, there you go. There might be a hit one here or there, but that's that's what I'm picking out next week. All right, Chris, your favorite book of the week.
Well, there's a lot to choose from this week.
There is.
But I think I'm gonna have to give mine to Ultimate 6. I gotta go with Ultimate 6.
I thought so. Yeah, honestly, like you said, a lot this week to choose from. But I think based on our conversations, I think I know which one rose to the top. But yeah, good stuff this week. Honestly, I had some good contenders here. Sacrificers was really good. Ultimates was really good. I thought, Plastic Man No More was really enjoyable this week. Batgirl was good. I mean, not in contention with the rest of them, but I think it was a good start of that series. I'm happy about it. But ultimately, you got to go with Avengers, Aliens again.
That'd be on my list too. That was a freaking killer issue.
I think after our conversation about it just rose to the top for me because I remembered that great last scene that it ended on, and it was like, you're right, like that was a great heroic moment that the Hulk pulled out. I'm actually happy it was the Hulk because so many times he doesn't get his due, like in that regard, because
Yeah,
like you said, he is the big monster, right? Like he says in this issue. So I was like, okay, that's something I could see Cap doing, but instead he kind of jumped in and tried to save
yeah.
Cap and the rest of the people the last of the bit of the human race there, right? And yeah, good stuff. Really great stuff. Honestly, I am only saddened now, but by the fact that we might have to wait another 2 months for the next issue because it's been really
Hey,
good.
if you can come out this good, I don't mind.
I agree. It's worth the wait. Yeah, it's good stuff. All right, that's going to do it for this week, guys. Thank you for tuning in. As always, make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you back here next week, as always, talking about next week's new comics. And thank you to Chris. Thanks, guys.
Cheers.
Well, cheers.